that was an experience that I'll never forget. And again, here we are, what, 15 years later, and you're bringing it up. And to me, that is amazing, because one of the things when I coach and mentor kids who are trying to get to where we've been and where we're at, a lot of kids today, especially with social media, I'm jumping ahead just real quick, but there's a point to this. A lot of the kids today with social media and everything being instantaneous, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, whatever, Facebook, a lot of kids today are so concerned about getting a moment. Okay. They want to get that moment so they can post it and they can, bring it up and, oh, look at this. And I want to get a like. So fucking what? Us, Heb, Jimmy, we got to do Wrestle Mania. And for us, the matches that we had are memories. They're not moments. We got memories that people to this day still talk about. So the matches and the stuff that we did, people are always going to remember them versus the moments that are happening today. And that's what I like to tell kids. You need to create a memory, not a moment.
I agree, man.
So that's where I stand on that. So Sean and I were writing around that time, and he was talking about saying goodbye, and he was really unsure about it. So I said, look, we're friends. I said, I've always wanted to work a Wrestle Mania with you. I said, it would be great. So he goes, well, let's talk about it. And we just left it at that. So the referee assignments came out, and Jimmy was in there. Referee assignments come out, and Charles Robinson has the match. And we were at TV the next day, and I went up to Sean, who was sitting in Gorilla. And again, I've apologized 10,000 times to Charles. It was not the intent to go, oh, Sean, I don't get your match. It was nothing like that.
You were politicking, Marty.
I've never been a politician in my life.
Well, let me hear your story then here, bro.
So I said, look, I don't have your match, maybe next year. That's all I said. And I left. So we're at SmackDown the next day, and Sean comes into the locker room and he says, hey, you got my match at Mania. What? Yeah, you got my match at Mania. I talked to Johnny. Okay. And that was it. So the next week at TV, I get ganged up, and it's, oh man, you took Charles' match. And I said, no. I said, I didn't take anybody's match. I said,
all right, hold on, stop, Marty. I love the dirt. Who did you? Who got hot? Yeah, who ganged up on you? Who got hot?
Who ganged up on me? It really doesn't matter, man.
It does. It does.
Okay, shit.
Come on, Marty. Who cares?
I was approached by Chad.
I already knew where you were
Jack
going.
Doan.
You don't have to. Charles, you don't have to. Yeah.
And that was it. And again, they got me and they asked me. But here's the thing. And people need to know this. Okay, so now we opened up the name list. So I need to mention this.
Sure.
Because it fucking plays into this. So WrestleMania 24.
Right.
It's SmackDown versus Raw match. Umaga versus Batista. Okay.
Yep.
I had that match. Mm-hmm. Day of WrestleMania, I start hearing rumblings that they're going to change my match. And I go, why? So Chad, I love you. I love you.
Bullshit.
And Eki went to Johnny Ace. And I hate saying that name. But
we hate hearing it.
Join the club.
We hate hearing it.
So they go to him and they say that I don't deserve the match, that it should be Chad. So I went, what do you mean? And Johnny pulled me in and he says, look, they want Chad in the match. But again, when I told Batista years later, he was pissed. Dave was pissed. He really was. So there was nothing he could do then, but he was pissed. So they politicked and they got me taken out of the match, and I ended up getting the Santino, Beth Phoenix, Melina match. I ended up getting that match where the lights went out. But I remember walking out of that office, and the first person that I walked up to was Jimmy Corderas. I don't know if you remember this, Jimmy. I walked up to you and I said,
I was a nervous wreck that day, so remind me, man.
Yeah, you had the main. So I walked up to you and I said, Jimmy, this is what they just did. What should I do? And I've always loved you, Jimmy, to the day I die. You said, just let it go. And I went, okay. And I just let it go, man. And I didn't bitch about it. I didn't say anything. I just let it go. They had the match. They did whatever. But again, I went, you know what? It's Wrestle Mania. I had a match on WrestleMania. So what? So I had that match. Chad had the match with Eki and Batista, and there we went. So then the next year, when Sean put me in 25, when they came and they asked me to go to Johnny, and I told them no. I said, if you want me to change it, I said, you go tell Sean. And they didn't. So that was that.
Same. Well, that's it. That's funny because that same WrestleMania, it was the same thing for me. Pretty much, because when I got asked to be put in that match by Edge and Taker, people were hot. So I guess you ended up being the fallout, since they couldn't go and politic to Taker and say change it.
Yeah, they couldn't politic Sean to go change it either.
You know who the guy who was most upset about that? You named him, and he wasn't a referee.
Who was that?
Johnny.
Wow.
He was the one who was most pissed about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Marty, let me explain this to you. Yeah. So WrestleMania, RJ, help me out. I don't know. I can't remember shit.
Which one?
Hogan Vince.
19.
Yes, 19.
Seattle.
Yep. Safeco Field, right?
Yep.
See, I remember some stuff.
well, Marty, here's my point. Yeah. The same thing you went through, I went through too, with the same old crew. I don't have anything against Chad per se. I just think that he just belittled me as much as he could because he thought I wasn't. You know what? I think it was just because he was jealous that I was a Hebner, and I never used that ever in my career. I can't help my last name. I can only help what I can do in the ring. And personally, not bragging, but I felt like if Hogan wants me and Michael P.S. Hayes wants me,
and the boss.
I don't know if the boss did or not. That was never confirmed to me. I don't know if that's what he said he wanted. I can only tell you what was told to me, and I know that Hulk. And
we know for sure if the boss didn't want you, you wouldn't have been there.
So. Well, that's true. Exactly. That's true. But all I can tell you is I didn't put myself in that spot. That spot was given to me. That was my assignment. And of course, I got a bunch of bullshit about it. And I'm kind of really, really opening the curtain here. But like I said, I don't have anything against Chad. I just think he's a jealous, weak individual at that time that was a bitch that could never accept the fact that I was a growing referee that was doing my job and doing it at a high level. And I've proven since that and beyond that I'm head above where people are. And
I totally agree with you. I think, and again, it's funny because I tell people that there's cliques. We us referees had our own little cliques, and the wardrobe people and the merch guys, and everybody had their sort of little cliques and stuff that we all. But again, some of us got along, some of us didn't. And again, I think it was to an extent, it was a professional jealousy is what it was. And I think a lot of times it wasn't a personal thing. I just think it was a professional jealousy because I can attest to that because I was getting a lot of great matches on pay-per-view, and I was told by specific people that I shouldn't be getting those matches, even though I was being assigned those matches and I was being requested to be the referee for those matches from a Triple H or a Shawn or whomever. But I was told I didn't deserve those. But again, when you go back and you go, no, I mean, I was working my ass up to be successful and I wanted to be the best referee that I could. And obviously somebody saw that to assign me and to request me. So to me, I don't think it was anything personal. And again, I love Jack. I love Chad. Everybody's moved on. I know I certainly have. But I just think it was a professional jealousy that they were kind of going like, well, we're doing this. And
so Marty, let me just say this.
Yeah, man.
And I know Jimmy and I know Daniel, who have both worked with me. I don't think there is what you said. Like there is, but there isn't because I did it. Like in other words, there wasn't referee people that didn't get along. I was forced to be that way. I had to find my clique because that clique didn't want me. I'm fine with them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Me, Jimmy, Kyoto, Charles, you, we never had a problem with each other.
No.
These two individuals we're talking about, which is Chad and Jack, were ILL. If you remember that, Jimmy, I know you do 100%.
Oh, yeah.
They were the ones that were trying to like at that time. And yes, I've grown like you have. I don't care anymore. I mean, whatever. They don't pay my bills. They don't, whatever. What I'm saying is it didn't need to be that way.
No.
And it was presented that way. And it shouldn't be that way or shouldn't have been that way for you. I worked with Daniel. We had a problem with another referee. We did. We had other referees that all worked together. We had one that just wanted to be that guy. You know what I mean? Like that's something that you can't control. It's just sad. To me, it's just sad because we should have all got along as a family. Been, like you said, accept what you can. We're all in WrestleMania. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Listen, I did the first match of WrestleMania at the Toronto Skydome. RVD versus
Regal.
William Regal. That was my only match I had. Guess what? Happy as a motherfucker. A pig and pork. I mean, I didn't care. That was great. But people didn't see it that way. You know what I mean? Like they just didn't see it that way. You appear to be that way or seem to be that way. I know Jimmy was grateful for everything he got. We can't control what is done. You know what I mean? Like it's just that way. And and the narrative today is just
and to cut you off, the way that I was fired or let go, for me that was a bitter pill to swallow for the longest time. But I'm over it because I know certain things happened and it was political. But again, I've moved on and I've done some amazing things since.
Marty, you don't think I'm not in the business? Oh well, I'm not in the business because I choose not to. You don't think I'm not in WWE because of political reasons? Okay. I'm just making sure it's political shit out there.
So check this out. I've had a persona non grata with WWE since the day I was released.
Don't say his name again.
Okay. Persona non grata. And up until last year is when I was allowed to go to WWE events. But it was from 2009. And again, a certain individual told me that as long as they were the executive in charge, that I would never, ever have a job with that company. And it was true. I wasn't even allowed to say WWE, because somebody wanted to prove how big their dick was. And unfortunately, that's how it worked. But again, I never took it personally. I just said, you know what, I'm going to move on and I'm going to be successful. And that's what I did. I mean, shit, I went to TV, I went to music, I did all sorts of great stuff, and I'm still doing it, But again, it's not my choice. My choice is to be here. Could I do it? Absolutely. Could I help out? Absolutely. So could you. But again, here's where we are today.